Hey everyone, it's Shayla with Modamob. I'm going to show you how to do my winged eyeliner beatdown. Let's get started. First, I'm going to grab my Anastasia number 18 concealer brush. Even though it's a concealer brush, you can still use it for your eyeshadow base. Next, you want to use the MAC paint pot in Lay and Low. You want the paint pot to be a little bit lighter than your skin tone. So I like using Lay and Low or soft ochre. So apply a thin layer of the eyeshadow base all over from your lash line all the way up into your brow. If you have concealer under your brow, it's okay, just overlap the paint pot. Just make sure that it doesn't look too clumpy. If it looks too clumpy, you probably have a little bit too much product on your brush. I want to make sure it looks nice and even and smooth. So next, I'm going to use MAC Brule, and I actually have it in what's called a Z palette. I like these palettes because you can customize whatever you want. So I'm going to use MAC Brule on my lid and saddle in my crease. So let's get started with my concealer brush, the same brush I use for my eyeshadow base. I'm just going to use the other side to apply Brule all over my lid. And you just want to kind of like press and pack it on using that same flat brush. Some people will tell you to use multiple brushes, but I think you can just use the same brush. So one side for the base, the other side for the lid. That way you're not using like a million brushes. So all over the lid. It's just a really light neutral color. So next I'm going to use my fluffy blending brush from Morphe brushes, and I'm going to actually apply Saddle from MAC in the crease. Make sure that you have a lot of product on the brush. Tap off the excess, start in the center of your crease and just go back and forth, kind of in a half moon shape. So I'm applying this matte brown by MAC called Saddle all the way in the crease. Depending on how dramatic I want my crease, I will go a little darker, but because I want to focus on the wing liner, I'm going to keep the crease kind of light. Apply more if you need to. The key here is just to make sure that it looks even. Perfect. One thing that I really like to do is I like to make sure there's a lot of product on the brush, and you want to lightly press it in the crease. So don't dig the brush into the crease, just lightly press it in the crease. Make sure it looks nice and blended. Perfect. So next I'm going to use the Morphe angled brush with the Inglot 77 black liner to create my wing. So start by applying a thin amount of product onto your angled brush. Again, you don't want too much product, just a nice thin layer. If you happen to get a lot like I just did, just wipe it off on the side. So start on the outside of the eye versus the inner lid. I just feel like this is a little bit easier, and I'm drawing small little lines and working my way all the way to the inside. This makes it a little bit easier and it eliminates error. And it's okay to have your eye open while you do this. So you can have it as thick or as thin as you'd like. So easy. Well, this part's easy. So once you have your eye lined, what you want to do is add a little bit more liner to the brush, and you want to draw a straight line from your lash all the way out. Now what you want to do from the end of that line, connect it to your liner. And then fill it in. So you can connect it first if you want, and then fill it in, or you can kind of connect it and fill it in as you go. But to make it easy, just remember to draw that line out first and then connect the end to your lash line. Make sure it's completely filled in. I have a little bit of a longer wing today, but you can make it as long or as short as you want. Just depends on your mood. Sometimes I want it to be crazy and sometimes I want it to be a little bit more simple. That's actually pretty good. So now that I've finished my wing liner, next I'm gonna apply mascara. One of my favorite mascaras is the MAC Extended Play Mascara. It's really thin and I just feel like it's easy to use. So apply as little or as much mascara as you want. I personally just like to do a thin amount of mascara because I always wear lashes. Because false lashes are everything. Put them on your bottom, and as you can see I did have a little bit of bottom liner, which is okay. Still add your mascara. Mascara really completes the look. So next I'm going to start by applying false lashes. One of my favorite brands, my most favorite brand, is Flutter Lashes. So this is actually called the Natalie Lash. I'm going to use my tweezers to apply the lashes. Make sure that when you use your lash adhesive that you put a very thin amount on the band. So start just by putting a very thin amount on the lash. Wait a couple seconds for it to dry. Well, not completely dry, but you want it to be a little tacky. I'm using the tweezers that on the edge of the actual lash band. Have the lashes face down. Tilt your head back and apply it on your lash line. This just really completes the look. Actually, I'm obsessed with lashes. Well, most of you guys probably know that. So right now I'm just using the tweezers to kind of get it close to the lash line. So it usually takes a couple seconds for the actual adhesive to dry. So now that the lashes are on, make sure to apply a little bit more mascara so that it blends. Sometimes it's good to just straighten them out too. They get a little crazy when you put the lashes on. So now that I've completed my right eye, I'm gonna move on to my left eye. So that concludes my winged eyeliner tutorial. For more of my videos, go to modamob.com. Thanks for watching!